In the animal kingdom, the bond between a mother and her young is a powerful driving force. It is a connection that can inspire remarkable acts of courage, even in the most vulnerable of creatures. On a day that began like any other, a small, determined foal demonstrated this profound truth. Its frantic cries and restless pacing caught the attention of a group of landscapers working nearby. The young horse was clearly in distress, its eyes wide with a mixture of fear and urgency. It would run a short distance, then turn back, as if pleading for them to follow, its small whinnies cutting through the quiet of the morning air. This was not the playful behavior of a carefree young animal. This was a desperate plea, a call for help that could not be ignored. The men, sensing the gravity of the situation, put down their tools and decided to follow the agitated foal. The small creature led them with an unwavering sense of purpose, its tiny hooves kicking up dust as it navigated the familiar terrain. It guided them away from the open pastures and towards a treacherous, muddy hollow hidden from plain sight. The foal's persistence was extraordinary. It seemed to understand that these humans were its only hope. Every few moments it would glance back, ensuring its potential saviors were still in tow, its entire being focused on the single, vital mission of leading them to its mother. The scene was a testament to the innate intelligence and deep emotional capacity that exists within the animal world, a reminder that communication transcends language. As they drew closer to the hollow, a sense of dread began to settle over the group. The foal's cries grew more intense, a heartbreaking symphony of fear and desperation. And then they saw her. Submerged in a thick, suffocating mire was a beautiful white mare, the foal's mother. She was trapped, almost completely swallowed by the viscous mud that held her fast. Only her head and a small portion of her back were visible above the surface. The sight was shocking and deeply saddening. The mare was exhausted, her body trembling from the prolonged effort to free herself from the muddy prison that refused to release its grip, her breath coming in ragged, heavy gasps. The foal stood at the edge of the pit, its small body quivering as it watched its mother's life slowly ebb away. It refused to leave her side, its loyalty a silent, powerful vigil against the encroaching despair. The bond between them was palpable, a tangible force in the heavy air. The mare, despite her own terrifying predicament, would occasionally turn her head towards her young one, a soft nicker escaping her lips, as if to offer a reassurance she herself could not possibly feel. It was a heart-wrenching tableau of maternal love and youthful devotion, a silent promise between mother and child that they would face this ordeal together, no matter the outcome. The rescuers knew they had to act, and they had to act fast. The challenge before the rescuers was immense. The mare was not merely stuck, she was entombed. The thick, sticky mud acted like quicksand, pulling her deeper with every slight movement. Her beautiful white coat was now a uniform grey, caked in the heavy earth that threatened to suffocate her. Her breathing was laboured, each inhalation a monumental effort that sent tremors through her weakened frame. The look in her eyes was one of sheer exhaustion and fading hope. The men could see the life force draining from her, a slow and cruel surrender to the unyielding earth. It was a race against time, a battle against the elements where every second was critical. Their initial attempts to free her were met with frustrating failure. They tried to dig around her, hoping to create enough space to pull her out. But the mud was relentless, collapsing back into the hole as quickly as they could remove it. They tried using ropes, looping them around her body, but the slippery mud offered no purchase. With each failed attempt, a sense of hopelessness began to creep in. One man, his voice heavy with defeat, muttered, "This is impossible." The situation seemed dire, and the thought that it might already be too late for the magnificent creature hung unspoken in the air. The mare was simply too heavy and too deeply embedded. The foal, a constant and worried spectator, watched every move the rescuers made. It paced anxiously along the edge of the pit, its whinnies a constant sorrowful reminder of what was at stake. Its presence served as a powerful motivator for the men who could not bear the thought of leaving the young animal orphaned. They looked from the desperate mother to her loyal offspring and knew they could not give up. The foal's unwavering vigil was a testament to a love that knows no bounds, a silent plea that urged them to try harder, to think of another way. Its faith in them, in its own small way, fueled their determination to succeed. Faced with the failure of their initial plans, the team had to regroup and rethink their strategy. The brute force approach was not working. They needed a more clever solution, one that would work with the environment rather than against it. The mud was the enemy, so they had to find a way to conquer it. The clock was ticking, and the mare's strength was visibly fading. Her heavy eyelids would occasionally flutter closed, as if she were ready to give in to the inevitable. The rescuers knew their next attempt had to be the one that worked. Their resolve hardened. They would not let this beautiful animal or her devoted foal down. In moments of crisis, human ingenuity often shines brightest. The rescue team, refusing to succumb to despair, began to brainstorm new ideas. They realized that fighting the mud directly was a losing battle. Instead, they needed to change the very nature of the substance that held the mare captive. One of the men had a brilliant idea: water. By pumping water into the pit, they could liquefy the thick sludge, reducing its suction and making it easier to work with. It was a risk, but it was a calculated one. They quickly gathered hoses and began to flood the area around the trapped horse, turning the sticky mire into a more manageable slurry. With the mud now thinned by the water, the team brought in their cleaning equipment. They used gentle pressure washers and brushes to carefully clear the heavy muck from the mare's body. This served two crucial purposes. First, it lightened the load, freeing her from some of the immense weight that was pressing down on her. Second, it allowed them to get a better grip for the final lift. The men worked in unison, their movements coordinated and efficient. Each person had a role, and they performed it with a quiet focus. It was a remarkable display of spontaneous teamwork, driven by a shared compassion for the animal in distress. The most critical moment was yet to come. Once a significant amount of mud was cleared, they were able to position heavy-duty straps beneath the mare's body. This was a delicate and dangerous operation. They had to be careful not to injure the exhausted animal, while ensuring the straps were secure enough to bear her full weight. The men lined up, each taking a firm hold. The air was thick with anticipation. The team leader called out, creating a rhythm for their effort. On the count of 3, he commanded, his voice clear and steady. 1, 2, 3! In that single, unified moment, they heaved with all their might. With a great sucking sound, the mare was finally lifted from her muddy tomb. The release was sudden and dramatic. For a moment she hung in the air, suspended by the straps, a creature born anew from the earth. The team carefully lowered her onto solid ground, their faces a mixture of relief and exhaustion. She lay on her side, trembling, and covered in a thin layer of grey slurry. But she was free. The men stepped back, giving her space, their hearts pounding with the success of their incredible effort. Their persistence and clever problem-solving had paid off. They had defied the odds and given this mother a second chance at life. Once freed, the mare lay on the ground, completely spent. Her body was weak from the long hours of struggle and the chilling cold of the mud. She was so drained of energy that she could barely lift her head. The rescuers watched with bated breath, their celebration tempered by the uncertainty of her condition. The fight was not over yet. She had been saved from the mud, but she now had to find the strength within herself to stand. The foal, which had been watching the final dramatic lift with wide eyes, trotted over to its mother's side. It nudged her gently with its head, emitting soft, encouraging nickers as if trying to will her back to her feet. That gentle touch from her foal seemed to ignite a spark within the exhausted mare. It was a reminder of why she had to fight, why she had to live. With a monumental effort, she began to stir. First, she tucked her front legs beneath her, gathering what little strength she had left. Then, with a deep groan, she pushed. Her legs trembled violently, threatening to buckle under her own weight. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed she might collapse. But then, drawing on a deep reserve of maternal will, she rose. She stood, unsteady and swaying, but she was on her feet. A quiet cheer went through the group of rescuers as they witnessed this triumph of spirit. Throughout the entire ordeal, from the first frantic cries for help to this final triumphant moment, the foal never left its mother's side. Its loyalty was a constant, unwavering presence. Now it stood pressed against her, finding and giving comfort in her warmth. This small, brave creature had been the catalyst for the entire rescue. Without its intelligence and persistence, its mother would have surely perished alone in that muddy hollow. The foal's actions were a powerful illustration of the deep, instinctual bonds that connect living beings, a love so strong it can move humans to perform extraordinary acts of kindness. This rescue is a profound reminder of our shared responsibility to the creatures with whom we share this planet. It speaks to the power of compassion, the importance of teamwork, and the incredible results that can be achieved when we refuse to give up hope. The image of the mare, finally safe with her devoted foal by her side, is one that inspires. It teaches us that even in the darkest of times, a single determined voice, or whinny, can make all the difference. It shows us that life in all its forms is resilient and precious, and always worth fighting for.